and welcome to the new episode of We Talk Talent Series Season 5, the show where we bring you insightful conversations with top HR leaders shaping the future of talent management. And today, we have a very special guest with us, Anshul Bhargava, Senior Vice President, Global Head Talent Acquisition, Firstsource Solutions. Anshul, welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks, Anmol. Pleasure, feeling honored, privileged to be talking to, I don't know how many people would see it, but I'm assuming with the brand that it carries, it will be a lot. So happy to share my views on certain topics.
Yeah. So before we dive into the discussion, I would like to give a brief introduction of today's speaker to our viewers. Anshul is an engineering graduate and he brings along 22 years of multifaceted experience in HR and training from BPS and IT industry. He has been associated with brands like Infosys, WNS, Tech Mahindra, and HCL in his earlier roles. So starting with my first question, Anshul, the workplace has gone through a lot of changes over the past couple of years. So how is your industry tackling the changes? If you could share a brief overview with us.
Nice. Good question. So see, yes, we did see. So let me break this into three parts. First part, pre-COVID, what used to happen. Pre-COVID, it was brick and mortar, plain. In our work scenario and I work for a BPO or a BPM company where IT is also a part of it, but 80% of it is BPO, BPM, 20% is IT. Whether it was TechM at that time and now Firstsource, same ratios, or approximately same ratios. How do we used to work in a brick mortar setup where everybody used to come office, mandatory. Clients were not receptive of sending people work from home. Then came COVID, where everybody jumped off. We had no option. Everybody had to go from work from office to work from home. Then post-COVID, and in the scenario we are, again, I'll break it into two. One was just after the COVID, where slowly, people were not ready to come in. Clients were also not so receptive to keep the work from home on. Now we have settled into a situation where we are going back to pre-COVID, while still our ratios are hovering around 70-30. 70% is brick mortar, 30%, or rather, 23% work from home, and 7 to 8% is hybrid. That word hybrid is a new word which has come in, which is going more and more deeper. While in our work scenario, especially in IT services, we cannot allow, because the client I work for a company which is very heavy on BFSI and healthcare. Both the places we require people to come to office because of reasons which are known to the world. So now I think we are more or less back, but still that hybrid workforce will continue. And with the AI or the generative AI and the robotics and coming in, I think some of the workforce is already getting cut and it's becoming more. So whether the laptop is sitting at home or the server is sitting at another location, it doesn't matter. Things have changed, but I think we are going back to normal and the ratios which I have told you.
Thank you so much for that insightful overview, Anshul. So according to you and your industry demands, what type of skill shortage do you think is causing the talent war?
Oh, we are short on talent. So that's a very touchy question for anybody in the industry, that we are. While we are 1.4 billion now, we still are short of people. And why only India? You go to UK, I look after UK, US, Philippines, South Africa, everywhere there is a talent war. That war has not stopped, especially in our industry, it has not. We are struggling in some areas, while we have somehow partnered with the right folks, with the right organizations. NASCOM is helping us. But still, I think there is a shortage of work in the areas, especially where domain-rich folks are there. For example, let me give you a very recent one. We are looking for coders for medical coding. And this is a high-skilled job. This is not run-of-the-mill. Now, experienced folks in that region are less. Numbers are increasing. There's no shortage of work. So in an industry where people are saying jobs are not there, anybody who's saying that, please ask him to or her to talk to me. There are plenty of jobs still in the market. We still have a very strong team. We do roughly around 20K annum, and continues to see the growth. So the growth is not stopping. I think the growth story of this industry is not going away. And hence, till the time that will be there, the shortage will continue. And the talent of war with the 20 top or 10 top players will continue. I personally, to specific to your question, especially which field, I think healthcare, BFS, both are looking solid in demand. The other one is on very niche skills within IT. While IT has eased out a little bit, but I still see niche skills within IT are still in demand. To be specific, there are some legacy systems which now US wants to go into the future system, but still they are not able to. Still, that demand for those legacy systems is still there.
So, Anshul, how is your organization providing better work policies for gig workers to give them the same opportunity as the regular workforce? If you can share a few initiatives with us.
We open it for all, whether it's, we can't see, we'll have to understand, let me again break it into two. You'll have to understand the type of business we are. 70% of our jobs is that they have to be in office throughout the time. So that 70% is out of the scope for gig workers. Now coming the 30%, which I said 23 are work from office and 6% which are hybrid, they come into the picture. From that 30%, I would say it's open for all. I don't mind giving bigger. In fact, if I just follow the basic principle of CTQ, which is cost, time, and quality, all three personally, and it's my personal view, it's not my organization view, but my personal view is all three, I think gig workforce is better than the normal workforce. Cost of the employees while hiring, I spend less. Time to take to get them on board is very, very less. And it's absolutely a cherry on the cake if I have to do a gig workforce. Third, the quality of the resources is it's quite amazing. I find them absolutely, for example, we do track metrics like FCR and quality. And then the third is, which is the most important, is the customer success. All three gig workforce is doing pretty well. We have been using certain gig workforce platforms, and we've tasted some success there. In fact, I'll want to go one level deeper to it, and you'll be happy to know that within our internal workforce, we have created a place called gig workforce. Okay. So it is for our internal employees, a new concept which we were playing around, and finally it took shape in, I think, last November. This November, October, November somewhere, where people can, after their work, if they still want to, because they work for 40 hours, and as per the government law, they can work for another few hours. If they still want to do that, these are productive hours for us. Benefit for us is that we don't have to train them. They are already trained employees. So that is coming up. Secondly, I think we also are sourcing out certain amount of work, which then it is getting sourced out to gig workforce. So again, the scope is not too much, only the 30% of the work, but that 30% is also humongous amount of work, if you see from that angle.
So what are some of the most prominent challenges organizations in India face to utilize the gig economy at its full potential?
I think one challenge which personally I faced, and I'll be very specific, is once we train, for example, Anmol is a gig workforce worker. I train Anmol because we are very specific on our processes. So I train Anmol on a specific project, on a specific skill. Now, Anmol becomes productive for me after, say, 15 days, 20 days. After 20 days, Anmol shifts to another project. Because whether he's not liking it or somebody is paying more or certain thing. I think which happens in normal scenario as well. But now in gig workforce, because the amount of people which are supposed to leave, we bake in very less. Either we start baking them in a large quantity. Otherwise, that's the one challenge. Other than that, I think I've not seen too much of challenge. The only challenge is to give work to them right now. Otherwise, as I said earlier, all the three CTQs are absolutely good for me. In fact, if you see globally how the gig workforce is going, and I can quote certain reports, I think the shift towards gig workforce is increasing. from what we used to see 10% gig workforce in organizations like us, they are moving towards 20 to 30%. Major shift is happening in the IT side of the world, but slowly it is coming to accounts like in which we work.
So, Anshul, as we delve into discussions on organizational strategies and their adaptation to the evolving employment landscape, I'm particularly interested in gaining insights into your employer branding strategy. Could you illuminate how your approach to employer branding has evolved over the past few years?
Nice. And this is a very touchy topic and very close to my heart, because it talks about, for me, branding first thing foremost, and I'll be quoting my CEO, who's Ritesh Guptani, who recently joined us. We've reworked on our company values, which is called as REACH. It is REACCH. R stands for risk taking, E is for execution and excellence, A is for agility, C is for customer first, the other C is for credibility, and H is everything which we do is for humanness. Again, the last H is again, something which I work, and I've been working throughout my career on this particular point. I think the first and foremost thing is living these values, and while we are saying employee branding, I try to get people who are able to relate. A lot of folks, in fact, it's interesting, a lot of folks are talking about ESG when they are getting hired. A lot of Gen Z and what's the next generation, which is coming up. They are talking about ESG, and I'm amazed to see it, because when I joined, for me, it was more of the salary and the work I'm going to do, forget about the society and all that stuff. But now people are, and I think part to this media, which is what we call as social media, we are doing it. I think that's the first part of employee branding. How do we preach or teach our company values? Second, I think we've been lucky enough, because we've been in the industry for 20 years. We've got employees who are still with us, and the testimonials that they have. So we use social media platforms to enrich these testimonials with the connect that we have. Third is obviously our web pages, whether it's LinkedIn page, our home page, and all that stuff. Last, I think we do a lot of work in ESG with NASCOMs, with other societies. There is NGOs that we all are partner. All the senior leaders are partner to. We go to do workshops. We teach professors. We teach students. Whether they come to us, they don't come to us, it's regardless. But basically, how you are uplifting the society, I think that's the major task. I think these are the 4-5 parameters on which we work on employee branding. People are going on social media, crazy on social media. I think while we have gone there, but we are not very crazy about it. We would spend another 20-30% of our budgets only on there. But rest of the 70% goes into the other 4-5 areas that I've spoken about.
Absolutely. That's really interesting. And thank you so much, Anshul, for sharing your valuable perspective with us today. And it's been a pleasure having you on this show. And for our viewers, let's continue to learn and grow together. And don't forget to tune in to the next episode of We Talk Talent series. Have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you.